Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Starbucks. I'm your host, Anthony Dardo. With me, of course, we have Jim Rosati. Jim, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but my office is a mess right now.
I see Kutch is gone.
Well, you see like the Kutch is gone, but you may be able to see at the very top that there's a big hole in my ceiling. There's holes all up in my ceiling right now from some plumbing work I got done on Friday.
Oh,
So they had to cut open the ceiling. It's crazy. Now I need to do some drywall work, which is, if you know me, I'm not the handiest man in the world.
right.
So most likely I'm gonna have to find a drywall guy.
Well,
Yeah, so that's how my morning's going. I walked in here and I was like, "Ah, crap! I forgot there's holes everywhere."
yeah, man. Sorry to hear and see that,
Yeah,
but the best of Monday to you.
it is what it is.
Well,
The joys of home ownership. Sometimes you need to replace all of your plumbing and in doing so, cut open your basement ceiling.
right. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this, because I know you're going to be going on vacation soon and stuff. So like, it's just going to kind of sit there for 2 weeks like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna sit there like that for probably 3-4 weeks. It would be my guess.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. Well, I don't have holes in my ceiling. As you can see behind me, everything is normal.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So what's going on this week? Like this is going to be rough now, because at least, I mean, we don't have any Pirates news. We never have any Pirates news. There's nothing to
Just a
really
little
talk about
bit.
the Pirates. I mean, we do, but we don't. You know what I mean?
Little bit.
But what we're getting into though is like the Steelers lost. So we're getting into that lull where there's like nothing, there's no sports. There's like everyone's craving for spring training now, I feel.
Yeah, it's 73 days now until opening day.
There
So
you go.
that's something.
That's
We're
something.
like 2.5 months away from opening day, which is wild to think about. Pitchers and catchers are reporting in about a month. We got a
Yeah.
first spring training game in like 5.5 weeks, something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so there's we're getting to the end of the finish line in terms of the off season. Like you mentioned, Steelers season's over. The Pens are still playing if you're paying attention to the Pens, but they're having a little bit of a rough go of it too.
Right.
But yeah, Pirates season is on deck.
It is. I'm excited. I was actually talking to Tyler yesterday. I was like, you know what? I'm finally in that mode again. I'm ready for real baseball. I love the offseason. I love speculating. I love building teams. I love that aspect of it, right? I am officially ready. I am ready for baseball to begin. Talking about the actual baseball games, the players. Let's get the season going.
Yeah, I'm ready to. And like I said, we got a little bit of news to talk about. The international signing period begins this
Yes.
week. The much awaited international signing period. So you've got you'll see Roki Sasaki signing here shortly. I would imagine. We've also seen some fallout from Roki Sasaki affecting some players from other teams who are. And then the Pirates seem to be reaping the benefits of it. So we've got a special guest to bring on here shortly too. We got Anthony Murphy from Bucs On Deck, and I think this is the first time we're bringing Murphy on since he's officially got his Baseball America gig too. So
It
we'll
is.
congratulate him on that. But the things that happen when you're a Starbucks guest, right? You get that.
That's right.
That's
You
what
just
it is.
catapult people's careers.
Yeah. Um, so we'll bring him on here shortly to talk about the international signing period and what to expect there when it comes to the Pirates. And we'll talk about some arbitration numbers. A bunch of players settled over this past week. Two players, Dennis Santana and Johan Oviedo, were not able to reach an agreement. So those two have filed their numbers and look to be heading towards an arbitration case. So
Yep.
yeah, a jam-packed show, just super.
So everything that the masses want to hear about this morning.
Yeah, the international stuff's interesting. So
right,
it's the most interesting stuff going on right now.
There it is. Well, of course, before we go any further, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, and NHL, and UFC. BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, do we want to go ahead and start with our boy Anthony Murphy? Talk about these international signings.
Let's do it.
Once again, Anthony Murphy. It's been 4 months. 4 months.
It's been a while since. I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while. I've been sleeping pretty good Monday mornings, so this is.
Glad we could ruin that for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I would say you get to wake up early on a Monday today. So thanks for hopping on. And like I just mentioned, congrats on the Baseball America gig. That's awesome. Yeah. So Pirates correspondent for Baseball America.
Yeah. It was a pretty awesome moment whenever they sent me the message, asked me to come on, and of course I jumped at it, and I'll have my second article for them out probably this week, I believe. So
good stuff. It's going to be about Mitch Jebb.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I just submit 10 Mitch Jebb articles this year.
Just Baseball America just renames itself Mitch Jebb America. Yeah.
And it's going to be a 10-parter, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So let's I guess first let's discuss, what is the international signing period? How much money do the Pirates have to spend during it? Who are the big names to kind of look for? The way the international signing period works, just from my understanding of it, is the Pirates have had guys down there getting relationships with these kids for years now. Mm-hmm. Everyone pretty much knows who they're going to sign with and how much they're signing for. We're just waiting until the actual date that they can do that. So let's just kind of do a quick rundown. International signing period. When's it start? How much money do the Pirates spend, and who are the players to look for here?
So the signing period starts Wednesday, the 15th. The Pirates are in the pool that they have. It's like a tad under $7 million they'll have to work with. At least that's according to Baseball America on it. They haven't been linked to too many of like the top guys. So kind of leads me to believe it's going to be one of those like volume classes to where like you'll probably get 20, 25 signings around there. I don't have anything that, confirmation, all that, but like if there's no names and all, and Baseball America does like their big board that goes by like signing bonus. It doesn't go by like actual overall talent. It goes like expected bonus and stuff like that. The Pirates do have one name on that board, and that's Johan De Los Santos, which is the brother of current Pirates prospects Yordani De Los Santos. I think that they said that the bonus is like $1.5 million, something around there. Seems like an intriguing kid. Good speed. There's a report. There's someone that had a write up on him saying he was timed at like a just over 6 seconds, 60-yard dash, which like that puts him at like 70, 80 grade speed, at least when it comes to that. So good bat the ball skills. It kind of sounds like Rosati's profile. A lot of contact, not much power. So Rosati will definitely love that in the system kind of thing. So
it's kind of neat that it's the brother of someone who was already in the system, Yordani De Los Santos received a pretty hefty bonus himself. Mm-hmm. So it's probably someone that they're familiar with because of their scouting that they had with Yordani. And I guess that you take it as a good sign that, like I said, a lot of this stuff is built on relationships. So I guess it's you take it as kind of a good sign that, hey, the De Los Santos family and everyone involved there likes the way the Pirates have handled Yordani so far. So you know, it sounds like they're going to do the same thing with Johan as well. Yeah, July 24th. God, these kids are born 2008, Murphy.
Yeah, that's 2 years after I graduated high school.
It's insane.
We're signing kids who were born in 2008. That just makes me seem so old.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Johan De Los Santos is the one name that Baseball America is showing that they project him as the 9th highest signing bonus from what I'm reading here. But then on top of that, so we talked about Sasaki a little bit. Unfortunately, it looks like the Pirates PowerPoint presentation is not going to work on Roki Sasaki.
Yeah.
So there's some fallout there because there was a guy who was committed to signing with the Dodgers who over the weekend basically flipped his commitment to the Pirates. And it looks like that is Darryl Morel. I don't know how you pronounce that. Darryl Morel. 6'5" left-handed hitting shortstop, if that sounds familiar to anybody. But he's apparently signing for $1.8 million. You can read about this on Bucs On Deck on the Substack, and you also have some exclusive video on the site there. So make sure everybody check that out. But what do we know about this kid and like the story behind it?
Well, so like obviously with the Sasaki thing, there's a lot of these international deals, they're made 2 to 3 years in advance and stuff like that, and so they have like verbal agreements and stuff like that. But obviously to get someone like Sasaki, you're going to have to use your entire bonus pool. So some teams are going to have to kind of be like, well, we know we had this agreement, but like, we're going for Sasaki, so we're not going to be able to do it. So that kind of frees up. And the interesting thing with that is because like there's these, back table deals and under the table deals and stuff like that for 2 to 3 years, some teams don't even like bother like scouting certain players because, like with like Johan De Los Santos, there's a good chance that like half the league hasn't even gone to a game to like check him out just because like, okay, well, he's signing with the Pirates. Let's use our resources elsewhere. So it creates an interesting opportunity to where like now there's like this scrambles thing and stuff like that. And, by chance, maybe they were at a game that they were scouting someone else and maybe Morel was playing in that game and they just took a quick note and it's like, well, this guy's kind of interesting. Maybe if a trade like 5 years down the road or something, like a couple years, like with like the O'Neal Cruz trade, like, okay, well, we're going to make a trade with the Dodgers. So like, oh, there's that Dominican kid that we saw a couple years ago. Let's go ahead and throw him in here. Now, all of a sudden, he becomes available. There's a scramble. The few teams that probably had a chance to see him and liked him, and I think they said that like the bonus the Pirates are going to be giving is probably like double what the Dodgers were going to give him. And I don't think that's like a reflection like the Pirates like maybe like it is more of a like there's probably like a scramble between a couple teams here and bidding. It's like okay, well, and the Pirates obviously ended up with it, but. You know how it is with the Dominican kids. There's not too much known there. The swing looked pretty good. He looked pretty smooth at playing shortstop. 6'5". That has to come with some like power potential there down the road kind of thing. So, I mean, the tools and the frame and all that looks good. To something to watch down the road.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up the O'Neal Cruz, and it's just funny because it just seems like the ties that O'Neal Cruz with this. I mean, it was the Dodgers that were signing him. That's who the Pirates got O'Neal Cruz from the Dodgers, 6'5", the shortstop. I mean, again, like there's not a whole lot known on him. I can't really see too much. He's not in like the top rankings anywhere. But yeah, like it's just kind of interesting that, it's funny that the Pirates aren't going to get Sasaki. Obviously, it looks like that's going to be the case here. But how they're like still kind of reaping the benefits here. This is the guy that was, or I should say a kid. Yes, a child, basically, at this point. This was a kid that was going to go to the Dodgers system, and the Pirates were like able to pluck him away. So again, like that's kind of cool. And it's read that was going to be one of the Dodgers' top targets this period. So yeah, again, like it's kind of cool that the Pirates are able to land this person that the Dodgers are looking to get into. And the Dodgers do a very, very good job, internationally as well. So maybe there's some, hope and outlook on that. Of course, it's such a crapshoot with international signings, but this is a great way to build, your program. This is one of the way the Pirates used to. They haven't done so well lately. But yeah, again, kind of interesting. This is one that Dodgers are going to get, and the Pirates now have them.
Yeah,
I thought it was sorry about that. I thought it was interesting you mentioned the the signing bonus differential, because that was the one thing that stuck out to me. Was like he was going to sign for less than $1 million with the Dodgers. Apparently, he's going to sign for 1.8 million for the Pirates. So like this whole thing worked out for him from a monetary standpoint. And I guess I was a little confused as to like why the big difference, but you put it perfectly in that like this guy was probably committed to the Dodgers for over a year now, right? He settled on this money a long time ago, and now that he's kind of back on the market, he's able to negotiate a higher rate. And my guess would be if he's signing for 1.8 million with the Pirates, there were other teams who wanted him for some money too.
Yeah, and you think like if the Dodgers made the deal when he's going to be like 15, 16 and 16 when he signs. If they made the deal with him when he was 12, 13, whatever, like that, he's obviously grown physically and stuff like that. So now it's less. It's even like it's all projection at this point. You're guessing what, but now there's a little added built in. Okay, well we've seen how he's grown now since. Like he's made that agreement with the Dodgers and all that stuff. I can't imagine he was 6'5" whenever the Dodgers first looked at him and they kind of made the deal with him. So now all of a sudden there's a 6'5" left-handed hitting a shortstop. I mean, everyone's a shortstop down in the Dominican at that point. But like, okay, well he's available now, so like let's just try to throw some money at him. And I don't know how many teams were chasing after him. If it got to double the amount that he was originally going to sign for, I'd imagine it'd at least be a couple. But that would be interesting to see if that ever came out, to see if like anyone else was and who else was kind of after him.
Yeah. I would imagine that you guys will be all over the international signing. So if for any Pirates fans out there who want to follow along, where's the best place to go to follow all the international signings on Wednesday and in the coming days?
Bucs On Deck Substack. We last year we had an international tracker. We tracked bonus amounts and any little bit of video or like scouting reports and stuff like that we are able to get our hands on. We'll update the tracker there with it. So pretty. I mean, like Ethan contributes to the site as well. So like he's great when it comes to numbers and getting that kind of stuff. So we were pretty good about getting like bonus amounts and everything like that. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Kind of the calm before the storm for us at the site and whatnot.
Good stuff. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, Bucs On Deck Substack. There's a bunch of free articles on there, but you can get all the premium stuff too for as little as $4.16 a month. And you get all the Pirates access and news that you need. So,
yep,
highly recommend it.
I appreciate it, guys.
Okay. Well, that's all I got for you, Murphy. Unless you got anything else to add.
International period's just kind of more of like a reacting thing because it's kind of hard to get that kind of information and stuff like that. So. We'll see. Like I said, it didn't seem like there's that many linked to like the high dollar people. So we'll probably see a bunch of like little signings too. And I believe like anyone who gets like a $10,000 bonus doesn't count to the pool amount. So like they could end up getting just a bunch of low number guys. And like even like someone like David Matoma was like a 10 to 20,000 guy. So you never know at that point. So
I felt like that was kind of like their MO way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's more recent that they've, handed out like top dollars internationally, top 10 amounts and stuff.
Yeah. They kind of go for like the sheer number amount. They, that the more people you get, like it's see how many stick to the wall kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well, Murphy, thanks for waking up early on a Monday.
Yeah, no problem.
We
No problem.
appreciate you. And like you said before, Wednesday is the start of the international period. Bucs on Deck Substack. If you want to follow along to all the international signings, they'll have their tracker up there and some write ups about everything that's going on. So yeah, thanks for hopping on this morning.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
I
For
appreciate
sure.
it.
All right. Bye.
So, Jimothy. Yeah, I mean, again, it's coming up. It's always, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say it's always exciting. It is a little bit exciting. I mean, this is something that, the Pirates used to be pretty damn good at. Not so much anymore, but still, this is new talent, new acquisitions, the future, read up into them and see what they're doing, internationally and whatnot. And yeah, like another De Los Santos is kind of intriguing because he's a guy that, we like to talk a lot about because there's a real potential in his future, those exit velocities. So yeah, another De Los Santos, the Daryl or Darrell, like you mentioned, Morel, however you're going to say his name. That's just, and again, to me, that's kind of cool. I mean, the Dodgers wanted him. Now the Pirates get him. Maybe that's their best case scenario here. It's like, well, you know what? We don't have to really scout him. The Dodgers did it. They liked him. That's all we need to hear.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if the Dodgers wanted the guy, then I want him. Like I'm
Yeah.
cool with just I don't
That's
need to
where
know
I'm
anything
at.
else about the kid. Like if the Dodgers wanted to sign this kid and we are now signing him, I take that as a good sign.
Right.
Do things that the Dodgers are doing is always a good strategy in my book.
For sure. Yes, that's where I'm at. Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's coming up on Wednesday, like you mentioned. But we do have some things to talk about. Like you mentioned, we have the arbitration numbers that they exchanged. A lot of guys came to deals. The ones that didn't was Dennis Santana and Johan Oviedo. So we'll talk about a little bit. But also, what we didn't talk about is there actually was some Caleb Ferguson signed. We didn't really talk about that amongst us either.
That's true. We can talk about Ferguson a little bit.
Yeah. So do we want to start with the arbitration then, I guess, just to kind of discuss?
Yeah. Let's see. There were 6 players who were arbitration eligible this season. 4 of them have agreed to terms. David Bednar, $5.9 million. Joey Bart, $1.75 million. Colin Holderman, $1.5 million. And Bailey Falter, $2.222 million.
I love that one, by the way.
So those are the 4 that reached. And then from like an estimation standpoint, like David Bednar was projected to get 6.6. So that means $700,000 below his projection. Bailey Falter was projected 2.8, so almost $600,000 below his projection. Everyone else was pretty similar. Like Joey Bart was 1.8, he gets 1.75. Colin Holderman was 1.4, he gets 1.5. But all in all, the Pirates save just on their projections. They save over $1 million, which to any normal team that's not really a whole lot, but for the Pirates, like an extra $1 million, man, it's like maybe the difference between Caleb Ferguson and Jalen Beeks.
There you go.
I don't know.
They found the money to sign.
Like to the Pirates, saving $1 million on these 4 guys it's a big deal, I think.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they were able to afford Caleb Ferguson now. They came to the numbers like, all right, Caleb, thank you for holding out. We can do it. It's something of note, like you mentioned. It shouldn't be anything, but it's hey, they were projected for about $1 million more in total. The Pirates all came to agreement and they saved, and again, air quotes saved because we're working on projections, right? But in theory of what they were going to have, they saved $1 million in doing so. So there's $1 million more in their budget. So let's see if they do anything with it. We'll find out. And ultimately, I mean, what that really does affect too is the future, right? They come to agreement on this, it's going to affect the future payout. So I guess it's a Pirates win on their side. I think David Bednar makes a lot of sense. People are kind of like wondering, like, again, $6 million for this guy. I think it's still well worth it. I'm all in favor of a David Bednar bounce back. I think there's still a lot left in the tank for him. But yeah, he does get close to $6 million.
Yeah, I'm definitely in favor of a David Bednar bounce back. I think that would be a very, very favorable outcome.
Right.
But no, honestly, I think the way I would almost gamble on David Bednar a little bit. The stuff was still really good last year. He just struggled with his command, and that led to issues giving up the long ball.
Mhm.
He's been so good for so long prior to that I almost would have taken that down year as an opportunity to like show him like, hey, you know what? We believe in you. You're from here. So, you probably want to stay here too. It seems like he enjoys himself on the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh, for sure.
And there's not a lot of guys who do that. Like, there's not a lot of players out there who actively want to be Pittsburgh Pirates. And David Bednar is one of them. So, I mean, I would have taken this as an opportunity to, like, lock him up to, like, a 3 or 4 year deal. Like, would David Bednar have taken, like, a 4-year, $20 million contract this offseason? I don't know. Like, but, like, I would have approached him with something like that, where it's like, "Hey, you know what? You're coming off a rough year, but we believe in you. We wanna give you
Yeah.
$20 million guaranteed over the next 4 years." Now, if he bounces back, he can make a lot more than that. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. But either way, you could like that's where I would have gone with this. I would have gambled a bit in this situation. I would have bet on him. And I would say, hey, you know what? We want to keep you here. Your value is obviously a little lower right now, but we want to keep you. We want to show you that we're committed to you. And I would have done something to that effect. Now it could pay off. It could pay off in dividends. It could be a disaster too. If last year is who he is, then that's a disaster of a deal. But it also doesn't hurt.
But what I'll say to your point
like,
is like
it's $5
$5
million.
million a year it shouldn't be disaster level.
On this team, it kind of is. But that I would have done something to that effect. And like I said, I don't know if he'd be for that or not.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're David Bednar, you take, do you sign up for 20 million guaranteed right now? I don't. Maybe after last year.
I think you at least entertain it for sure.
Yeah, you got to think about it.
Right. And I don't know if I'm comfortable going 4, but like a 2 or 3, I think like this is definitely an opportunity for like a 2 or 3 in my mind. I mean, again, that's not even just David Bednar, just or any reliever, at this stage. It's kind of, excuse me. It's kind of why, I think Tyler and I, but I definitely was on board like a few years ago. And of course, different circumstances about trading David Bednar at that point in time. Because again, like relievers are pretty volatile. So he had a down year. I don't know if I'm comfortable giving him 4, but like a 2-year for sure. Like if you gave him a 2-year, $12 million deal at this point in time, just saying like, hey, we don't have to worry about arbitration next year either, because it could go up. Probably is going to go up, but again, kind of betting on him. Like here, 2 years, $12 million deal, good. Or if it's like a 3-year, 15 or something like you're mentioning, or along those lines, it is a good opportunity because again, like the stuff is not gone. It like you look at his last year, and it's not as if like his abilities diminished. He had a really bad year, and I think it's a mixture of a lot of things, but it's not because of the downfall of David Bednar is really upon us. So again, like that's why I think he's going to have a good season, guys. I do.
I think he's going to bounce back too. His velocity last year was actually the highest it's been in his career. Like he's not losing it. He's not losing it. Like he's not losing the stuff. It was something was wrong with his command, and you could maybe attribute that to, the lack of spring training, the injury, and just maybe not being in sync. But I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the 3 really, really good seasons he put together beforehand. And like you said, relievers are volatile. We're dealing with pretty small sample sizes when we're talking about in relation to starting pitchers. Like David Bednar over the last 4 seasons has pitched 240 innings, and 190 of those were all-star caliber innings. Right. Yeah. So when you look at it that way, it's like this guy's the 57 innings last year that didn't go as planned. I'm willing to not necessarily look past it. Like I'm leery of it, but you've got to also take into effect the previous 190 innings where he was a top 3 reliever in the National League.
Yep. For sure. For sure. I just counted. He had 6 appearances where he had 3 earned runs or more given up. That's bad, but it also kind of goes to show too. Like you talk about small sample and stuff. I mean, 6 games, obviously he just imploded. It was terrible. But like if you look outside of those 6 games, they came in and did his job most of the time after that too. Either way, yeah, like David Bednar, bad season. I'm sure he'll tell you hands down too, bad season. But I don't think that it's lost. I think there's certainly a bounce back. We'll get that back to the form he was before. I mean, he could. Like that's also like I'm not out here saying like, oh, he'll bounce back and be okay. Like he absolutely could come back and just be the David Bednar you saw in the past, just picking right back up. Again, that's where his stuff still remains. You could argue that his stuff was probably even better last year altogether. It was just so weird that he had that bad year. But regardless, yeah, David Bednar back. So Johan Oviedo and Dennis Santana don't come to agreement. They're going to go through ARB. Some differences in there, especially with Oviedo. That's kind of interesting. I know Ethan kind of dove into a little bit on Twitter. They're not really going to give him much of like an upgrade compared to like the league minimum. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to win that one, Jim. I think I don't have the numbers. What is like $850,000?
So the Pirates filed at $850,000. Oviedo filed at $1.15 million. And Oviedo's number seems reasonable. Like people were projecting Oviedo to make 1.5 and Oviedo for 1.15. And the Pirates came in at $850K. I think my biggest thing with Oviedo is, yeah, he didn't pitch at all last year, but like let's pull up his career number. Because I mean, when you go to arbitration, you're not just talking about the previous season. Like we're talking about a pitcher who's given you 320 innings over the course of his career. Mm-hmm. And they were pretty good innings. Like they were quality major league innings. And to offer him $100,000 over league minimum ish, basically. I'm surprised. I have a feeling that that Oviedo is going to win that deal. Or I could also see the Pirates maybe using this as an opportunity. Like maybe you approach Oviedo with a multi-year deal. You know, I mean, you could do maybe you buy out Oviedo's arbitration years, give him 3 years, $9 million. Like 3 years, 10 million, whatever you want to do there. Like you could do something to that effect with Oviedo too at this point. Like you don't necessarily have to go to the court case, to our arbitration case. You can still work something out here. So maybe they do that. I don't know. But I mean, it's we're talking about a difference of $300,000 here, but I would be surprised if Oviedo didn't win that. The Santana one, which is he filed at 2.1, the Pirates filed at 1.4. I think the Pirates will probably win that one. But yeah, the Oviedo one seems very low. Seems very low to me.
It really does. That one was really odd. Dennis Santana is kind of odd too. I mean, hey, go get your money, Dennis. I don't know if you're really going to get to 2.1. You had a very good season with the Pirates last year, but it's not as if you had a very good career up to this point. So yeah, I'm with you. The Pirates are probably going to be the winners in that one if I was going to assume and guess here. But with the Oviedo, it's just kind of weird too. Like if he comes at you with a 1.15, I just kind of feel like, oh, that's a good number. Like let's settle on that because, like you said, like a 1.5 makes sense. Like he does have a solid career before him. You know, like the numbers are about average. I don't expect like a $150,000 raise more or less because of this. You know, his first year in ARB. It's not as if like he's been injured the entire time and had one season. And you know, like I'm kind of confused where the Pirates are coming in on this. That's all. And we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But again, like we talk about with the extension stuff too, like the reason why these numbers kind of matter too is like it's a snowball effect. You know, if his first year's at 1.15, then the raises are going to be, you know, higher. But if you're starting out at 850, you know, your raises are based on that amount. So it kind of limits your, you know, ability. And that's why, again, like these ARB numbers, especially early on, matter. You know, I know Pirates like people are like, oh, they're so cheap. Just give him the $150,000 or whoever it is, right? Just give him the $500,000 more dollars it costs. Well, that's why they do this, because 500,000 today could mean a difference of maybe, you know, millions of, you know, when you're at ARB3 or whatnot. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So those are two that didn't come to agreement. You know, as the Pirates, they take it to ARB and they'll go. So we'll find out what happens. I don't know. I mean, maybe an extension for Oviedo. I don't know if I'm quite ready for him yet in that regard.
It was just an
like,
idea.
like the Bednar thing makes sense. Like, oh, this is your opportunity to take advantage of it. I still want it's still low enough for me too. Like, I still want to see more from Oviedo. But
yeah, no, that's fair. I just think you're in an opportunity to coming off Tommy John surgery where, like, if you wanted to just buy out his arbitration years plus one more year, I mean, he's young too. Like, he's 26. You could buy out 27, 28, 29, 30, and you could probably do it for like 15 million bucks.
yeah.
Like, sign me up for 4 years
here,
of Johan.
You're just like, you're like preying on all the injured and bad seasons. Like, oh, here's my
like,
opportunity.
I mean, like, if you can lock up Johan Oviedo for $15 million over the next 4 years, like, do it.
Yeah.
I don't know what his value is or if he would go for that, but you're coming off of a Tommy John surgery and someone throws 15 million bucks in your face and you get to hit free agency at, you know, age 31. I'd listen.
I think you have to. I mean, think about not even just that, but it's not as if it's not like he was like a top prospect. It's not as if he had some really good production beforehand. Like, the season we're talking about because, like, oh, you know what? There's some stuff there. But all in all, it was a 4.3 ERA season. It's not as like it was like, hey, I pitched a 2.79 in 120 innings. Like, I want paid. There's a lot of like unknown uncertainty. So, like, if you're Johan Oviedo, you're getting thrown $15 million in your face again. Like, yeah, you probably think about it.
Mm-hmm. I think at a minimum, like, I still think Oviedo is one of the top 5 starting pitchers on this team. So, like,
I do.
I want him as a starter, but at a minimum, like, you see the stuff. I mean, I think you could, if he fails as a starter, which I don't think he's going to, but if he does, you're looking at someone who can throw in the bullpen, and he's had success in the bullpen, you know, during his career. So I would see what you can do. Like, give him a 4-year deal, buy out a free agency year. See what that would take you.
Get that cost certainty going.
Yeah, like, and there's so much value to that. You know exactly, how much you're spending in the next 4 years on him. You don't have to deal with this process for another 4 years. And then if he becomes the guy that you want him to become, it's a steal.
And it's once again, if he's not, unlike Bednar, you know, if he's not that guy, still not a whole lot of money you're eating, right? But he is absolutely the guy that I feel like in the bullpen, he could be a weapon. You know, there's starters that just like they can't translate to be in the bullpen. You know, they're not just going to have like this other second career of being a really, really good reliever. Oviedo, I think, possesses that stuff. So, like, if it fails being a starter, he can be in the bullpen. You're talking about, okay, so there's a bullpen arm for like $5 million again, who could probably be good to elite, you know, in that role. So, again, like with the risks, it mitigates the risk a bit because, like, if he's not that good of a starter, he could probably also be a really good reliever, unless, of course, just injuries derail.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you want to talk about the reliever, Caleb Ferguson?
Sure. Let's talk about Caleb Ferguson.
I know there's a lot of people that look at this and it's like, oh God, Caleb Ferguson, here we go. Bottle the barrel. You know, who's this guy? He stinks. He's terrible. Now, I mean, listen, you're not wrong. It's not as if they went out there and got a top guy, right? They are shopping at this part of the store they're accustomed to. But I will say, opposed to a lot of other things that the Pirates do, I liked this. This isn't like the deal to get you excited about. This isn't like, oh my God, they landed Caleb Ferguson. But I will say, like, Caleb Ferguson is interesting to me. This isn't a guy who they signed for just $3 million. I feel like, oh, here we go. We're just settling for this. And this is awful. Look what he's done. Yes, he had a bad year last year with the Yankees, but he's had success. he has some really good stuff. I think like, especially too, this is us buying in, or at least me personally, I speak of buying into the Pirates, the way they've maneuvered and operated, turning relievers around. I mean, we just talked about Dennis Santana filing for $2.1 million. The fact that he even has that ability to is because the Pirates took him in and revived his career, you know? So Caleb Ferguson has this stuff. Like when you look at who the Pirates target, it's very Caleb Ferguson-ish. They've turned these guys around. And the thing about him too is he's had success. When he was with the Dodgers, he was really good. So I do like this Caleb Ferguson signing. Now, also Alex Stumpf reports that he's going to be given the opportunity to potentially start. We'll see what that means. We'll see what comes from that.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I think he could be one of these relievers that the Pirates bring in, turn their career around. And at the end of the year, we're talking about Caleb Ferguson. Do we want to bring him back?
Yeah, I don't even know how much of a turning around the career we need to be talking about. I mean, this is a guy with 261 career innings. He's got an ERA under 4. He's done nothing but pitch on really good baseball teams. Like, I think you have to kind of realize that too. I mean, he came into the majors in 2018, and he's pitched for the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Astros. He's pitched in 9 postseason games. This was a guy who was good enough to be in World Series caliber bullpens. Like that. I mean, at the end of the day, that's who you just acquired. You acquired a guy who's been a part of World Series team caliber bullpens.
Mm-hmm.
If you're complaining about this move, I don't understand why. I think the one thing you could complain about is like he shouldn't be a starter. Like let's be real here. If you want to go ahead and have him quote unquote in the mix like during spring training, whatever, and then 3 weeks into spring training you say, yeah, you know what, obviously you're not going to start, you're going to be in the bullpen. He's going to be in the bullpen. I don't foresee any situation where he's actually starting games. But yeah, I mean he's had pretty productive seasons. Last year he got, the BABIP was pretty high. So that kind of caused his issues there. But from a pure like hitting, I think once he got to Houston, like he really didn't get hit hard at all. Only 2 barrels were hit off of him in Houston last year over the last 2 months of the season. So like he limited hard contact in Houston. You're lefty reliever. You needed a guy like this. He's not going to go out there and give you the type of stuff that like Aroldis Chapman gave you, but over the course of his career, like he has struck batters out. He has limited home runs for the most part. He's kind of maybe a little bit on the high end there. But like he's a solid major league lefty reliever. He's better than Jalen Beeks was. He's better than Joey Wentz. Like he's your best left-handed reliever in this bullpen. You probably need to acquire one more to feel comfortable. But yeah, you should feel good about this signing. He's a solid lefty reliever who has pitched on good teams. He's pitched in the postseason. I don't see anything wrong with this signing. For $3 million, sign me up. Like if you get 50 innings out of Caleb Ferguson for $3 million, worth every penny.
Yeah. And again, like I think you have a real opportunity to get 50 good quality innings. It's not just to get 50 innings to get you through the season. Again, like the whole starting thing, I'm just kind of confused about. I don't know. Maybe it's a negotiation ploy. Maybe it's like, hey, we'll give you the opportunity because, yeah, as a starter, you can make more money. You can come in here and start and be productive. Like now he goes into free agency next year as a starter and can get a $33 million deal right in Toronto or something. But I do like it. I again, like there's real opportunity here that he can come in and be a good pitcher. Now, and again, like the whole thing starting thing, it doesn't make sense to me. Is like they need a lefty reliever. So you make him a starter. It's like, well, does that mean like you're putting Bailey Falter in the bullpen? And again, talking about guys that translate, like to me, Bailey Falter is not the guy that translates to the bullpen. He doesn't I don't think he can give you a Caleb Ferguson type season in the bullpen that Caleb Ferguson give you as a reliever. So that's why I kind of look at this like, oh, are they really going to do that? Because like, I don't know if that puts Caleb Ferguson in the best situation to make and the Pirates, like the rotation stronger. And I don't think that helps the bullpen out either. So like, I think that's like the IKF thing. Like you're making the worst of a situation. Like Put him in the bullpen. Let him
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah, like Bailey Falter isn't giving you Caleb Ferguson strikeout numbers.
No.
Regardless where you put him.
Right.
And that's I guess that's the intriguing thing with Ferguson is if you can stretch him out, like then you've got a lefty starter who can strike people out. But like that's not who he is. It's not who he ever has been. So I would just stick with what he's done for his entire career at this point.
Right. Yep. But like you said, good teams. Went from New York to Houston. Went into Houston. The numbers and himself got a lot better. So was it the environment? Was it Caleb Ferguson? I don't know. He just didn't succeed in New York. It happens. But in Houston, he was much better. And like again, LA, he was good. So it's like really outside of New York, he's been fine. So yeah, I do like that signing. I think it's really good for the bullpen. And of course, right, they shouldn't stop. Probably going to add some more here. But Caleb Ferguson is a good start for those lefty guys. Bring back Roki too. Minor league deal.
Yeah, Roki minor league deal is fine. I do think you need one more lefty for that bullpen. So yeah, hopefully they're not done there. I wouldn't even mind another righty too, like someone as like an insurance policy for Bednar, like someone who was some closer experience. I even looked the other day, like Craig Kimbrell actually is kind of interesting on a 1-year deal. I know he's old and not coming off his best season, but he's a Hall of Fame closer. His stuff's still there. So, I mean, just names like that. Like there are plenty of relievers out there to be had on these 1-year deals. Go out there and get another lefty, and then go out there and get some sort of like insurance policy in case Bednar isn't who we hope he is.
Right. And what's funny about, I feel like Kimbrell was actually putting up like a pretty solid year until it kind of unraveled. I DFA'd him. Like,
yeah,
wasn't he
fell
like
apart
until like a few weeks before?
Yeah, he just fell apart, I think, in September.
So yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. I'd be for that. And again, the experience. God, you're talking about teams he's been on and the bullpens he's been a part of and what he's done in his career. So yeah, absolutely. What he could bring into this team.
Jose Leclerc, another name here.
Yeah.
Like, some closer experience. Been pretty good throughout his career. Wouldn't cost you a ton of money. Yeah, there are guys out there, I think, who fit that mold as far as like a Bednar insurance policy. So go out there and get one of those guys. Go out there and get a lefty. And then go out there and get a corner outfielder. Or at least
two
if you need to go that route. But gosh, like, let's go, Ben. Time's ticking.
Right. Yep. Well, Jim, outside of that, anything else that we really want to discuss and talk about today?
Nah. Let's get off here.
Cool. All right, let's get out here. So again, International Signing Period begins on Wednesday. There'll be a lot of news. Follow Anthony and the crew on Bucs On Deck to see what happens. We'll be back for another And It's Not Live, probably Wednesday night. And then Sicko Sound Off this Friday. So get on our Discord for your opportunity to be on if you want to. Good stuff coming. And yeah, pitches and catches are coming soon. Also, I'm excited.
And who knows? Maybe there will be an Alex Verdugo emergency podcast.
Maybe. Or
That's
maybe
what the
even
people
bigger.
really want.
If you follow
That's what
Bucko Mike on Twitter, maybe even bigger.
God. Yeah.
On that note, let's get out of here. My source is only correct 50% of the time, by the way. Let's get out of here. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
See you guys. All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucs.